So I'm going to take this apart so that you can see it actually is just built in 3 pieces, and the pieces are modular. They actually go together very easily. So I'm going to put it upside down, and maybe then I'll have to adjust the camera. Okay, so you saw how that piece went in so easily. A little bit more adjusting. A little bit more adjusting when the thing is the right way up. But I designed the top and I built the top, and then I worked out how I wanted the pieces to go in. And then I built the pieces, and then using blocks of wood, as you saw this go together, that exact shape is duplicated here. It can only go in one way. If you look now, it can only go one way. That part there comes here, then it goes along, and then it's captivated in this 3/4 gap, and then it goes right along. It goes along and it catches in here, and it does all of that without any nuts and bolts, without any screws, without any nails, without any glue. And if ever it has to be moved, it can be moved in 3 pieces, which, as you can see, a man of moderate strength and exceeding age can do that. So I'll just put the other piece in. So the other piece has to be turned upside down, of course. And there you have it. It's in its upside down position now, and everything is. Now when gravity comes in to help you, that's what will happen. Alright, so the inside is all painted in a matte black, so it doesn't allow any light to come out. But if at any time it has to have another piece put in the back to make it covered in, then it can be done really easy. And all of this was done with hand tools. Right? I had an electric saw. I had a circular saw. The power saw was the only mechanical power tool that I had. Everything else was done by hand. So all of these parts were free cut, and they were all put together, bondoed, filled, and made to look like they're part of, as if they're in moulded stone. That's what it will look like. And just to give you, I just wanted you to see this idea of how these parts can come together. Alright? And actually, as long as you have the angles, as long as you have the angles and a clear idea of what you want, this is really simple. You start off with this basic shape here. Now when you've got the basic shape and it all fits, then what I call dressing begins. That's where the fun part starts. and you can actually go ahead then and put these parts on and fix them, and as I said, all done with a hammer and pins, no nail guns. I would put this up very, very fast if I had a compressor and a nail gun, which I don't, which at some point I probably will get. Mind you, in getting a nail gun, I'd also have to find a source not just for the nail gun but for the nails, because one of the things that you find here in the Philippines, which if you're packing a container to come out here you might remember this, but they'll sell a fitting, like they'll sell, say, a palm sander, which takes small pre-cut pieces of sandpaper and that specially fit that palm sander, and it won't sell that paper. That paper will not be available. You will have to make do with, not with sandpaper, but with what anybody in the West would call wet and dry. That's a special paper which works best when it's wet, and it's used mostly in the automotive industry when they're doing paintwork. And that's what they sell here as sandpaper. So someone very recently, very kindly, sent me a load of the special filler that I like to work with, which is, I think, let me see, well, it's something that is water-based. So literally you can apply the filler with your finger into these parts here. It dries very quickly. Your fingers don't become embedded in Bondo, which is what everybody here is forced to use as filler. Well, Bondo, which you may or may not know, if you're not a furniture or worker, you won't know that that has to have a hardener, and it hardens. You have a certain amount of time in which to work with it. But with, yes, you can't help me, honey. But with this kind of work, it's a real advantage if you can just mix some up, and some of it is pre-mix as well. But you can then take a sponge, or even your finger, after you put this in, and then pull your finger up here. It will take most of the residue away. Then you can wipe your hand with a wet rag and you're clean and ready to go, which is a real advantage. And someone very kindly picked up on this and said, my God, it must be terrible not to have that kind of filler, and sent me several jars of it, for which I am eternally grateful. Thank you. So, that's our upside down look at the, you've seen it in its natural state up, with gravity working for me, and you've seen it now as it goes together and as it was designed. Hello, Yoda. No, you can't help me either. Okay, so now I'm going to go on. I'm going to raise my voice over the dogs. Hey! Hey! They're barking in great danger at someone that they see every day. These are not bright dogs, you realise that. Sorry, no offence, my little one-eyed friend. Okay, so I'll be back on the next part of this, because now I'm about to go into the fun part, which is painting. And once it's painted, I'll be going in and doing the studded look, which I personally like. Not to everybody's taste, but then nothing I do is to everybody's taste. That's what makes it custom. So thanks for looking in. This is a foreigner in the Philippines, and my little triangular corner desk. See if you like it when it goes further on. Bye for now. Yes, Rhoda. Okay, our little friend.